Hello everyone, today I'm going to talk about a Song of Creation combo. Um, I will talk about the list, the specific card inclusions, and later on I'm going to talk through one of my last leagues I played with the deck, which ended up being a 5-0, so that's always nice to achieve. And yeah, let's get right into it. The goal of the deck is to stick a song of creation on the board, and basically draw through your entire deck with the abilities. With the ability, um, it says whenever you cast a spell, draw two cards, and we can play an additional land on each of our turns. And at the beginning of our end step, we discard our hand. But ideally, we drop Song of Creation and draw through the entire deck and win with Thassa's Oracle. Yeah. So in order to achieve drawing through our entire deck, the list is built with a lot of cheap artifacts with 0 CMC or 1 CMC cards. And the 2 CMC cards often usually produce mana like Deadly Dispute, where we get a treasure token, so it's effectively a 1 CMC spell. Or Kinnan, which generates more mana. Springleaf Drum is essentially a 0 CMC spell as well. Astral Cornucopia. And Emery often is also just 1 CMC since we have a lot of artifacts on board anyways. So let's talk through each of the card inclusions. We play 4 Mox Ambers. This is the best artifact we play in the deck since it generates mana. With Kinnan it's 2 mana, and it's important in the combo turns to draw our Mox Ambers because we need to net some mana in order to play our Witching Wells or our other spells. Then we play 4 copies of Ornithopter. It works great as ramp with a Springleaf Drum, and is also a 0 CMC spell for Song of Creation, so that's always nice. Then we have 4 Springleaf Drums. It's a great card to get some fast starts in the game. We can ramp it to Song of Creation or play our Kinnan, tap Kinnan with a Springleaf Drum. We generate 2 mana, play something like an Emery or a Deadly Dispute to get a treasure token. Then we play 4 Witching Wells. It digs, it scries 2. It's also an artifact, and we can sack it for 4 mana and draw 2 cards. What's important to note is that we play 3 Emerys, so each of our artifacts can be fetched from the graveyard if we need to, and this can also be a nice, neat little interaction where we have a Witching Well on the board and an Emery. We sack the Witching Well, draw 2, and can immediately replay it with Emery. This card is great because it helps us find our lands or our Song of Creation. Then we play one of Depart the Realm. I used to play Void Snare in this slot. This card is there to win against Narset or a random hate piece in game 1 to basically have an out in case they have a spell that just hoses us. Which in comparison to Void Snare, this is also nice because we can foretell it and then drop turn later to Song of Creation, and we still, if we didn't manage to combo on our turn, we have a guaranteed spell on the next turn since we don't discard the spell if we have foretold it earlier. So also what is great about this card is that we can bounce our own stuff on the combo turn in order to get an extra 2 cards with Song of Creation. So we can up our consistency with a bounce spell on one of our own spells. Then I'm trying out in the flex slot one of Reality Chip, which can be nice if we just don't have the Song of Creation ready and we just need another way to churn through our deck. We play 2 Thassa's Oracle or win condition. I like to play 2. I think 2 is the right amount because with 3 Emrys it's not unusual to mill 1 Thassa's Oracle, and it's almost game over if we just mill our win condition. So, or if we discard 1 with Song of Creation, so it's nice to have 2. Then we play 4 Deadly Disputes. This card is excellent in the deck. It does everything we need. It draws 2 cards, helps us find a Song of Creation, creates a treasure token, and yeah, it's just an excellent card. With Song of Creation out, we can draw 4 cards and get a treasure token. And then the most important creature in the deck is Kinnan. Whenever we tap a non-land permanent, we get 1 mana extra, so this works excellent with Springleaf Drum. We generate 1 extra mana. It works with treasure tokens. Deadly Dispute with Kinnan on the board becomes 0 mana, draw 2, which is excellent. Mox Amber generates 2 mana. Yeah, and I just realized that the list I played earlier with a 5-0 didn't include Courier's Briefcase and the Reality Chip. These are 2 flex slot I tried out after the league, just testing these cards out. Then we have Wishclaw Talisman. This is a great card to play like as a one-off or maybe even 2-off in the deck, because we can find our Song of Creation even more easily. Without Song of Creation we are not going to win the game, so it's extremely important to find it and to play it early. A nice interaction we have with Talisman is that we can activate its ability, and if we have a Deadly Dispute in hand, we can, in response to the ability trigger, we can sack it with Deadly Dispute, so we can tutor our card and at the same time don't give them the Talisman, and we have something to sack to the Deadly Dispute, so that's always a nice interaction. Then we have Emry. She's great if we need to ramp early. We can oftentimes play her turn 1 or turn 2, and if she manages to stick, we have another extra spell we can cast with her if we have Song of Creation on the board, which can always be relevant as well. And then we have as like the 0 CMC slot, we have another 3 Astral Cornucopias and Torment Scripts. These are basically to up our count, our artifact count, so we can get more consistent combo turns with Song of Creation. We can go through our deck more consistently if we have more 0 CMC artifacts. And I just remembered that these 2 spells, Courier's Briefcase and Reality Chip, are used to be an offer you can't refuse. I think that an offer you can't refuse is a nice addition to the deck, so these non-creature spells also work great if we need to ramp or generate mana on our Song of Creation turn. So reality chip and Career's Briefcase can be an offer you can't refuse as well. And obviously we play for Song of Creation. The sideboard was, in the months of experimenting with the deck, kind of difficult to build because I found it difficult to integrate cards into the game plan and find the right cards for the matchup. But with this sideboard, I'm confident. The slots that are 100% that I'm 100% confident in are for voltage surges. These are great against Winota or against other creature decks, against hate bears. Yeah, and it's just a great card because we can often play it for its other mode. We can deal for damage since we play a lot of kind of useless cheap artifacts. Then against control, we bring in three Malevolent Hermits and one Destiny Spinner. This card is really, really good if we try to win this matchup, since if we have the flipped form of the creature, we can cast our spells and they can be countered, and we can sack it to counter relevant spells of their own. Then we play 3 Ley Lines of Sanctity against black decks that play Go Blanks, Thought Seizes, or Necromancer effects, which can wreck our deck completely. So I believe it's kind of necessary to play these against black decks. Then one of Antiquities War. This is just a card to have another angle of attack in some matchups. I'm not 100% confident in this pick, but it can be a great card to find some gas or to just find another way to win the game if we can find Song of Creation. Then one of Tormod's Crypt, which can hit decks like Phoenix or Greasefang decks, which is always nice to have. Playing 2 in the main also helps in these matchups, in these graveyard matchups. Then we play one of Fry, which is a great card against Spirit decks, Greasefang, or just Narset. Narset is a very problematic card for us since we can't really win through a Narset. So having a Fry is really good. Pithing Needle I tried as a one-off. You could also play like another Malevolent Hermit in this place. I wanted to try the card against decks like Mono Green Devotion, but this is also not a very I'm not 100% confident in this slot. Yeah, so in the main list I just realized that I forgot to talk about the mana base. The mana base is kind of, since we play a 4-color deck, it's difficult to build, and I wanted to make the mana base as fast and as consistent as possible. So it's very painful. We play 4 mana confluences, 4 Spire of Industries, 4 shocks in form of breeding pools, 1 basic, 2 Boseijus. I like the 2 Boseijus. 1 could be alright as well, but I just like to have it, especially in games 2 and 3 when they bring in their Deafening Silence or Damping Spheres. And we play Otawara to bounce their problematic hate pieces, or game 1 Narset. Then we play one of Takenuma, which can also be relevant if we mill both of our Thassa's oracles. We can bring it back with Takenuma and one of Shivan Reef, just to have more red sources in games 2 and 3 if we bring in our voltage surges and fries. But usually with Springleaf 4 Springleaf drums, we can get a lot of mana fixing done as well. So yeah, this is basically the whole list. If you have any questions about the individual card inclusions, I can talk about that. Yeah, but I feel confident in these 75 because I did a lot of testing, and this seems like the best configuration. Deadly Dispute is excellent, Witching Well is excellent, Kinnan is excellent. The only flex slot I would have is Courier's Briefcase and the Reality Chip, and if I didn't try out an offer you can't refuse, I would play 4 Stone Coil Serpents as well, just to have another angle of attack. But currently I'm trying 2 offers. I'm going to add them right now so we can see the list I 5-0'd with. Okay, so let's take these out. Yeah, this was my list I played with. We create 2 tokens, which is excellent with Kinnan, and yeah, and we can counter our own stuff, and it works as protection against blue decks, so it's a spell with potential in the deck. So enough talking, let's get now into the league. So game 1, I'm on the play. Hold on, let's look at this hand. So yeah, this hand mulliganing with the deck seems it's basically revolves around having Song of Creation in hand, enough mana sources, or if we don't have Song of Creation, having at least a Deadly Dispute or a Witching Well or something that we can really dig deep. And if we just have air like Ornithopters or Mox Ambers, we just don't keep it. So this hand is fine because we have a Deadly Dispute. We don't have the black mana for it, but we can dig with it with Witching Well. So yeah, we play Witching Well. We didn't find a black source. We put both to the bottom, which is kind of bad, but it's alright. So we play Thassa's Oracle, we try to find a black source for our Deadly Dispute. So now we find a Song of Creation on top, and I believe that we keep it on top because it's our win condition, and we're going to find a black source or a red source to play with our Song of Creation. Our opponent is on a green-white deck. They play Bishop of Wings, so we know we are up against Angels. And Angels typically don't have a lot of interaction, so I feel comfortable in this matchup. We drop our 3rd land. Unfortunately, we can't Deadly Dispute into Song of Creation, which would be really nice, but what you gonna do? They play Resplendent Angel. We don't draw our land, so we just hope to get lucky here and find our missing land. They get in for 3. So now we draw our Astra Cornucopia, which gives us the black mana we need. So we play at X1. Next turn we can try to go off. They Coco. Now they have a lot of pressure and we have to win next turn. Yeah, now they represent lethal next turn. But with a Song of Creation and 2 land drops, we have good chances of winning and a lot of 0 drops here. So yeah, we play Song of Creation, have 2 more land drops, and this should basically be a win because we have so much draw and 2 more land drops. Ideally we find a Kinnan, play Kinnan, and then we have a lot of mana with Springleaf Drums and Mox Ambers. Yeah, I'm just going to go faster through it. We found our Kinnan, so with this deck, if we can drop a Kinnan, it's the easiest way to combo off, and a lot of times we're going to look for a Kinnan so we can generate mana with our Mox Ambers and Drums, otherwise it can be difficult to go through the deck. So we play our 2 land drops, play Kinnan, and now half our deck generates mana, so now it's just an easy win. We play our 0 CMC spells, our Mox Ambers, generate mana. Yeah, now we have 8 cards in deck, and here's the Thassa's Oracle. We can play it now, and we win the game. We have devotion more than 6. Yeah. Okay, so against Angels, let's switch to game 2. Game 1 goes for us. Let's just go find the game again. Where is it? Game 2. Let's close the game. Okay, so let's see how I board it. I think against this matchup I don't have a lot to board in. I boarded in 2 voltage surges for an offer you can't refuse, because there are not a lot of non-creature spells we want to counter, and I feel confident that having answers to some creatures can be relevant. So I brought in 2 voltage surges. This hand is fine, we keep it because we have Song of Creation, and if we draw like mana or Springleaf Drums or anything, then we're good to go. Even having a Kinnan here is really nice. So yeah, Springleaf Drum is a great draw. It enables turn 3 Song of Creation, and oftentimes with these kind of hands, if we drop Kinnan turn 2 or create a treasure turn 2, and we can drop Song of Creation turn 3. A lot of times we drop Song of Creation turn 3 but can't quite combo off on that turn, and then on turn 4 we draw preferably a spell, and then we can win the game. Shock, play Kinnan, and we can play Thessa's Oracle, which is nice. And we can put Seiju on top. I think that's what I did, just in case our opponent plays a Deafening Silence. So they tap, 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 play Archon. This is the reason I brought in the Voltage Surges. So basically now I'm going to try to find the Voltage Surge. Oh yeah, I put the Deadly Dispute on top, which was also fine. Now the game revolves around me drawing like now it's like Voltage Surge or my Bounce Spell or Tawara. We dig with Deadly Dispute. Don't find anything. Can play our second Thassa's Oracle. Dig for 3 more. And there we can find nothing. Again, they collect a company, put a lot of pressure, play Skyclave. Yeah, and they have too much pressure. I didn't find my answer, so that's just how it goes sometimes with the deck. If we can't find the answer to the hate, then it's often GG. So we go on to game 3. This hand is excellent. We have a Song of Creation, we have 3 mana, and we have a Emry turn 2. So we keep. Play Witching Well. Put Voltage Surge and Talisman on the bottom. Don't need those right now. They play Deafening Silence, which is an issue. We can play Emry now. And now we are at a similar point as the last game. We need to try to find an answer to the Deafening Silence. Fortunately, we milled a Talisman in the graveyard, so we can fetch it with Emry and try to find an answer this way. What's also good is that we have a Voltage Surge in hand, so we could play Talisman, and with the Surge ability on the stack, we can sack it with Voltage Surge, but not this turn since we only have 1 mana. We can do it next turn. They fortunately don't play another hate piece, so we can try to find a way to win, if not next turn, the following turn. Yeah, so now we can do the trick. We can put the ability on the stack, the Surge ability, sack it with Voltage Surge. I believe we kill the Giada. And now we can search for Poseiju. Grab Poseiju. And their turn we can... Their end step, they just play random creatures, we don't care about that. As long as they're not hate pieces. Yeah. Then in the end step we can Poseiju their Deafening Silence and go off. And with 4 lands, 2 more land drops, and 3 spells, 2 spells in hand and 1 we can play with Emry. This is almost guaranteed lethal. Yeah. Especially with Kinnan now, this was a great draw. So we play Song of Creation. Play our 0 CMC spells. Or we kind of need to find a land here to play a Springleaf Drum from the graveyard. We're hitting a lot of expensive spells here, so sometimes it's not that easy. But now we can play. Yeah, now we play a Voltage Surge, sacking an Ornithopter, killing one of their bishops. Tap, target Springleaf Drum, play Springleaf Drum. We kind of whiffed. We needed to find Mox Ambers to get to 2 CMC to play, in order to play our Kinnan. But killing 2 of their creatures now is also good. As long as we unfortunately have to discard our hand. And they can't manage to kill us here. We go to 3. And at this point, we can just play our spells. Deadly Dispute is brutal here, we can draw 4. Oh yeah, we play Talisman first. Yeah, now we search for Kinnan, can play Kinnan, and then we can generate 4 mana with our drums. And Deadly Dispute is draw 4. We finally draw our first Mox Amber, which I believe is after 40 cards on the bottom 20. We had 4 of our Mox Ambers, which is our strongest spell apart from Song of Creation, which was kind of unfortunate, but that's how it goes sometimes. But at this point, it's just GG. We have one Thassa's Oracle in the grave. If we would have discarded the second one, we would have Takenuma as another out to grab it back. So yeah, but we have one in the grave still. There it is. We can play our spells and then just play Thassa's Oracle again. So this was the first match, 2-1 versus Green-White Angels. So let's go on to the next match. This time we are on the draw, I believe. Yes. So this hand, again, we don't have a Song of Creation, but we have Deadly Dispute. The nice line is always to play turn 1 Witching Well, turn 2 Deadly Dispute. If we then draw into Song of Creation, we can play turn 3 oftentimes and then win turn 4. So they Thoughtseize us, black deck against the black deck we play. Take one of our Deadly Dispute, fortunately we have another one. So now we're digging for Song of Creation. Emry is also fine having an Emry, since next turn we can play Mox Amber, play Emry for 1 mana, and with Mox Amber and the another mana we can hold up Deadly Dispute, which is also nice. So I believe that this was the play, seems to be the play. Yeah, we play Mox Amber, play Emry for 1 mana, and now we could play Deadly Dispute. Mayhem Devil. Okay, so before it hits, we play Deadly Dispute since we would take a damage from the sack. Sack the well. We don't find our Song of Creation, unfortunately. So we play Witching Well again, try to hit it. And still no. So to the bottom, still no Song of Creation. Play another one. Still no Song of Creation. Put them to the bottom. And now we can depart the realm for a tab, which is always nice. Also acts as a surprise card, since nobody knows what this card could be. Fortunately for us, our opponent isn't doing a whole lot. They are not building up a lot of pressure. Thoughtseize our Springing Drum, we don't care. And we still have our Emery, which is also really nice. So we probably have like 2 more turns in order to win the game. So we go into a combat step, don't draw a Song of Creation. So at this point, I believe that we sacrifice our Witching Well. Yes. We have to be a bit careful with the opponent's Mayhem Devil. Yeah, at this point they can just kill our Emery, which is kind of unfortunate, but we have to try to find our combo piece, otherwise we're just going to lose. So we draw 2, and we finally find our Song of Creation. So at this point we just have to try to survive 1 more turn. But yeah, we find some spells on top, leave them on top. Next turn we can go off with Song of Creation. So they put us to dangerous 4 life. And what's also critical about this deck is that since our mana base is very painful, we have to be careful with our life total, because we can't really afford to waste a lot of life, since we can generate colored mana with Mana Confluence or Spire of Industries if we are at 1 or 2 life. And they represent 1 more damage from the blood tokens, so we have effectively 3 life. So we have to be very careful with our mana and tap our Spire of Industries for colorless mana and use our mana accordingly. So we tap the Mana Confluence, I believe, here, yes. And they sack. And now we are at 2. Now the question is what we do with the Depart the Realm. I decided to bounce my Mox Amber to get a couple more looks at the library to find some 0 CMC spells, and yeah, you can't afford to tap the Mana Confluence, since they can sack the blood token to deal the final damage. So we bounce the Amber, replay the Amber. We find a Killian, which is good, but we need some ways to generate colored mana, without taking any damage. Finding an Ornithopter is definitely nice here. Play it. And now if we find like find another drum, we play the drum with colorless mana. And now we find non-painful land, which is really great. Because now we can go Boseiju, tap for green, Springleaf Drum, tap for blue, and then play Kinnan, and with Kinnan online we have 3 mana, and now we have 2 mana. But now we find more 0 CMC spells, and we need to find more Springleaf Drums or Mox Ambers. So at this point I think that I'm going to Witching Well, because with Witching Well you first draw 2, then you scry 2, so you can't really use, if you have 1 spell, the scry, because you draw the 2 cards first. So in this case it's smarter to play Witching Well first and then play the 0 CMC spell in order to find what we need. But fortunately we draw naturally without the scry into our Mox Amber, and we scry both to the bottom. Now we have 3 mana, and I draw into another Mox Amber, and at this point I have 5 mana, and it's just enough to draw through my entire deck. They try to find like an answer. I'm at 1 life, but they don't find anything. I have to be careful to not deadly dispute or sack anything. And yeah, play my spells and play Oracle, and that's game 1 for me. Against Rakdos mid-range, I like to bring in my ley lines. I boarded in the ley lines. I took out 1 Kinnan, 1 Torment's Crypt, and 2 offers you can't refuse, and put in the 3 ley lines. And this hand is great since we can play turn 1 Emery into turn, well, not turn 2 Kinnan since we don't have green mana, but hopefully we can find a Springleaf Drum with Emery and can play a Kinnan turn 2. We don't have a ley line, but we have a Song of Creation, and this hand is great. Apart from that, fortunately they don't Thoughtseize us. Mox Amber is also a great draw. Turn 1 Emery, we find a Springleaf Drum, so now we are in a very good shape. They play some random spells, we draw a useless ley line. Now we can... Now I decided to play Cornucopia. A drum. And next turn I can try to go off. So at this point I'm kind of weak to go blank, but in this case I would still be able to play Song of Creation next turn. They duress our Song of Creation, which really hurts here, but we still have a Witching Well in the graveyard and a Kinnan, so we have a lot of possibilities to dig for our Song of Creation, and that's what our game plan is right now. Well, we can hardcast our leyline first in order to be safe from Necromancer effects or other discard. Witching Well, finds no Song of Creation. So they play their anvil, sack. We don't really care about that, as long as our creatures are alive and we can continue trying to find our spells. Now we draw Antiquities War. Oh yeah, this is also a card I like to bring in against Rakdos midrange sometimes, because if they have a lot of discard and we need to find gas, it's a great spell. But I guess trying to win with the 5/5 tokens isn't really all that realistic if they have a lot of 1/1 tokens, so I don't know if that's right sideboard decision at this point. But we find a Wishclaw Talisman, which is the best artifact we can find, and at this point we can just chill because they don't have a lot of pressure, and next turn we can play Talisman, search for our Song of Creation, and then just win. Because at the moment we have 2, 4, 6 mana with Kinnan, and 3 we have 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9 mana. We can, with 3 mana, 7 mana, we can search for a Song of Creation. Yeah, they just do some random stuff, we don't care about that. We drew another Mox Amber, which is great. And at this point we just play Talisman, search for Song of Creation, and play it, and we have a Mox Amber in hand. And an Emery, so we can replay the Mox Amber. And we draw another Mox Amber, so at this point it's just trivia, and we can draw through our entire deck. Yeah. So again, key in this matchup we're having Kinnan online and an Emery. I guess we got kind of lucky that they didn't draw any fatal pushes, or that they didn't remove our creatures. Yeah. Play our stuff and play our Oracle, and at this point we are 2-0. Moving on to match 3. So let's see. This time I believe that I'm on the play again. Yes, I'm on the play again, which is always nice in a combo deck. This hand is kind of questionable, I have to admit, since we only have Emery as a threat, but we have a turn 1 Emery, which is nice, but we don't have any way to refuel or play our Song of Creation, so this is kind of a risky keep. But if they play some kind of dirtly deck or mid-range deck, this could be a strong hand if our Emery survives and we find like a Witching Well or Kinnan. So we find 2 Witching Wells, they play a Refine's Tower, which probably means that they're on Esper Greasefang. So we have a lot of dig now, we can play our Witching Well. So we find Kinnan and Mox Amber. At this point I like the Kinnan since we can generate a lot of mana and eventually sacrifice our Witching Wells in order to generate card advantage. So I leave the Kinnan on top. With the other Witching Well I look for another second card. We don't need any lands. So they eliminate our Emery, which kind of sucks, but it's a good thing that we have Kinnan on top. Next turn we can sacrifice our witching wells. At this point I don't really know why I didn't play Kinnan. I think... Oh yeah, right, because I just wanted to sacrifice my witching well now. Since I have 4 mana, they Thoughtseize. They can take our Kinnan. Might have been a misplay. I sacrifice my witching well. Don't find anything nice, so I probably try to sacrifice my next witching well. They play Tainted Indulgence. Thoughtseize away my cornucopia. They don't do anything else, so we find a Deadly Dispute, which is nice, and an Oracle. So the Oracle, try to find Song still. The good thing about this matchup is that they didn't manage to put a Parhelion in the graveyard or put up any pressure, so we can take it slow and play our dig spells. Push our Oracle. Play Tainted Indulgence. And end of turn we can Deadly Dispute one of our drums. And we draw 2 more disputes, which is kind of fine, I guess, but at some point we would like to draw our Song of Creation. Still don't find it. We play, I believe, the Cornucopia. Now, at this point, if they manage to put a Parhelion in the graveyard and have an Okiba, we just lose. No, we have the Pt.1, which is also nice having this card, since sometimes it's just buys you another turn. They put a Parhelion in the graveyard. Unfortunately, they don't seem to have. Or did they have? No, they don't have the Okiba. We Deadly Dispute. And after going through half our library, we still don't have found our Song of Creation, which is kind of unlucky, I guess. But we found a Tormod's Crypt, which is nice, so we can get rid of their Parhelion. We foretell our Bounce Spell. Now they play their Grease Fang. And a Shredder, so now the pressure is on. No, I don't have a lot of time left. Don't find anything. They untap. Thoughtseize. Don't manage to find anything relevant. I keep whiffing, and I think that's how the game continues. Nothing more exciting happens. Dig through time. Another dig through time. Now they are representing lethal with Parhelion, but I can Otawara their Okiba. So we have another draw to find our Song of Creation. One last draw. We draw Kinnan, and I believe that at this point it's just GG. But we still have another bounce with our Pt.1. So we might get another turn. Yeah. I activate Killen's ability in order to find like an Ornithopter to possibly block one of the shredders. Find an Emery, which is also not bad, because now if we mill a Talisman, we can go off next turn. We mill a Talisman, so if we survive this, we can go to 2. And again, we have the same issue as last game. We can't really use our mana confluences or Spider Industries. So now they play their Shredder, second spell. But they kill our Emery, so we can play Wishclaw, which kind of sucks. But in our last 25 cards, we found our first copy of Song of Creation, and at this point, we can just play it and win the game with 2 spells in hand. We have draw 4. Yeah, now we just have enough gas to just... Oh no, never mind. So what happened here is I just didn't have enough of colored mana. That's kind of the issue with Free Spire of Industries and Mana Confluence. What I missed this game was I became too lazy. I should have played Mox Amber, put Astral Cornucopia on the stack, and play Offer You Can't Refuse. So I would have green mana to play Kinnan or red mana to play another Song of Creation. This game I just became kind of lazy, and I think I was also distracted, so this was kind of unfortunate. This could have been an easy win, but that's how it goes sometimes. And let's go to game 2. We are on the play. And this hand is really stupid. We have a Torment Script, which I like, to have Graveyard Hate and Springleaf Drum and only lands. But I figured that they bring in stuff like Thoughtseize or try to hate my hand. So yeah, so I try to dodge that. It's probably not the best idea, but I like just having a lot of lands in hand against decks that don't pressure me too much. If this wouldn't have been a Torment Script, I definitely wouldn't have kept that hand, but yeah. The good thing about the deck is that it's almost like a 1-card combo where if you draw, you basically just need Song of Creation and the rest of the deck just plays by itself. So if we get lucky and draw into it, then we're in a good shape. So they play a Shredder, they draw a land, Thoughtseize, find nothing, swing for 2, I draw another drum, and at this point I feel kind of stupid for keeping this ridiculous hand. Drawing Witching Well is really nice because we can scry and draw at the same time. And we scry into nothing. On their turn they consider, swing, and now we need to find Song, and we did find Song and Ornithopter, so this looks like a hand which can win on the spot. I got kind of lucky there, play my Ornithopter, and I believe that at this point I'm not doing the same mistake again. At least I play an Emery first, And I find a kitten, so with the 3 Spring Crowns we have 6 mana, and this is just GG. I believe that I play another Song of Creation, yeah. So at this point we draw 4 each spell, and that's just GG. So we can go to the next game, game 3. On the draw, which can be scary. This hand is nothing, no lands. This is again no lands, so kind of unlucky with the mulligans here. This hand is alright. We have a turn 3 Song of Creation if we draw a land. So we bottom the Mox Amber and the land. We draw. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about the sideboarding this game. We put in a Fry. I didn't really feel like putting in the ley lines because it's like a combo matchup, and I don't think they play stuff like Go Blank, and having a couple of Thoughtseize I can live with that, so I just thought that leaving them in the sideboard, I just tried to be like faster combo deck than them, and I put in a Fry just to get action against Greasefang, and put out a Cornucopia, and I also switched an Offer You Can't Refuse for, can't quite remember for what I switched it. Oh yeah, for another Tormod's Crypt, obviously. Oh, excuse me, I pressed the wrong. So this Fry feels nice to have, just in case they drop Greasefang. So they go turn 2 Tainted Indulgence, bin the Parhelion, and they basically have perfect setup. And they also have Greasefang, so at this point I'm really happy to have this Fry, which saved the whole match here, this Fry. And at this point we draw our 3rd land, can play Ornithopter, drop Song of Creation turn 3, and try to win turn 4. They play Shredder, we don't care. And having this dispute is just awesome because we can generate 4 mana. We tap the Ornithopter, and now we draw 4. Draw Well and Amber. And at this point it's just trivial again. We just have so much draw that eventually we are going to draw into a Kinnan, and with Kinnan we just generate a lot of mana. So at this point I'm just trying to find a Kinnan because it's just the easiest way to win. Or I just play an Emery just to use my Mox Amber. Hit the drum. And yeah, at this point it's just trivia again. Can't seem to find the Kinnan, which is kind of annoying. But with Emery on the battlefield it's also enough. Yeah, and I have like 20 cards in the graveyard left, and I still haven't found a Kinnan. But I mean, it's just more comfortable to do it with Kinnan out. But we just generate enough mana that we can go through our deck naturally. We find our Kinnan, and now we just play our stuff. They Kinnan. They eliminate our Kinnan. But I still have enough mana and they concede. So that was the first 3 matches and the deck tech, and the last 2 matches I think I will do in another video because otherwise it will be too long. So see you in the next one.